Hey, it's me, Jake Hernandez, and it's another episode of Very Bad Dad. So if you're a bad dad, or if you have a bad dad, or you know a bad dad, which I think we all do, well, get yourself into another episode of Very Bad Dads. These dads are even bad, well, worse than the dads you actually know. Like this dad right here, episode 6, Scott Peterson, all right? Now, we all know the tale of Scott Peterson. Peterson, not Scott Peterson. He was born and raised in Modesto, or as I call it, Meth Desto. That's right. That's all you find out there is meth and a bunch of farm ag equipment and shit. Anyway, he was in the pesticide business and married to Lacey Peterson, hot smoking piece of ass who was pregnant, 8 months pregnant. And then he decided, oh, you know what, I'm gonna kill this bitch and shit. But the way he went about it was like, first, she's gonna go missing, and I'm gonna be like, oh, she's missing and shit. Excuse me. I'm gonna go and go on the bay and shit. It was at Berkeley, like Bay Marina. He went on like Christmas Eve and shit. Like, no, nothing's suspicious there, Scott and shit. You just went golfing all day, right? And then came home, and then your wife was missing, right? And then you went all looking for her. So what ended up happening was, the police ended up looking at him because he's the husband and shit, and he's just not looking good or anything like that. And then he also, it came out that he was having an affair, and he was having an affair with a Fresno woman named Amber Fry, and she was not as good looking as Lacey Peterson, but you can definitely bet she was a whore. I mean, she's from Fresno. She doesn't have a kid. She's not like 8 months pregnant. Like, from Fresno, she's gonna be like probably having sex with like goats or some shit. So Scott Peterson is into it and shit. Tells her lies like, oh, I'm gonna break up with my wife or what have you. And then she finds out, oh, it's this Scott Peterson, the Mephisto one, and she calls up the police, gets all hooked up with them, and then they start going after Scott Peterson, and he looks real guilty, and they find him in San Diego, like a golf course, like he's hanging out in somebody's trunk. He's got his hair dyed and shit like that, and well, through it all, the case and everything, the trial, he said that he was not guilty, but he was found guilty of 2 murders, that's right, of his wife and his unborn child, Connor. And he was actually sentenced to death, that's right, death, in San Quentin prison. Woo, man, one tough prison right there. But ended up getting an appeal, not one that worked immediately, but he kept on doing it, and finally, now I think he's in Eon, like prison over there in like